Hey y'all, and welcome back to DiamondTrail Ranch. Today, we are going to be bringing you along for one of our absolute most important and most overlooked daily routines. Feeding time at night. Mind you, we feed twice a day. This is part of our nighttime routine. This is what things look like on our homestead after the sun sets. When the animals are still hungry, chores still need to get done, and it's just about pitch black outside. This does not include the milking of the animals and everything else. This is the feeding routine here and what goes in. We're going to start with the horses and the horse feed right here. Our horses, Red and Indy, Red, Indy, and Buckeye, they each get custom feed mix every evening. Got it down to a bit of a science. First, I grab the feed buckets and start scooping in the horse pellets. Then we add a scoop of the bloom here, which is a supplement for coat conditions, weight maintenance, and overall health, especially in the Florida heat, where they can drop weight fast. It's always a concern. After that, we add a generous handful or two of alfalfa cubes here. Now, you don't want to feed alfalfa cubes dry. They need to be soaked. Dry cubes can be a choking hazard, especially for horses that bolt their food. So we grab the hose and fill each bucket with water, letting it soak for about 10-15 minutes until the cubes soften up into a mash. The horses love this mix, and most importantly, it keeps them in good condition without packing on too much heat-producing grain. We give the buckets a good stir, we'll double check the consistency, and carry them out to the pasture. That's the bloom right here. She's got a little bit of a friend there, that's cute. Cute little friend in the bloom. It's been raining a lot here, so sometimes you'll run into the big, that was a palmetto. They're trying to stay dry from all the rain we've had. It's just the nature of it. So here we are adding more. Even though it's getting dark out here though, the horses always know when it's time. Believe me, you hear Indy a mile away. They hear those buckets and they come trotting over like clockwork. Indy is usually first, then Red comes. Bucky's not too far behind typically. I'm going to come over here and we're going to soak the food like I mentioned. We clip the feed buckets. There we go. Setting that down. Gonna get the water and soak it like I mentioned. 'Cause again, this stuff can be a choking hazard. So the feed buckets are gonna go into the pens. You'll see. There's gonna be peace. We separate them. We keep them separated, obviously in different stalls, so they can eat. And then we'll be moving on to the goats next. So again, you're going to do a generous handful or two of alfalfa cubes. You do not want to feed the alfalfa cubes dry. They need to be soaked. You want to make sure they get their horse-specific food, right, with the scoop of bloom. It's excellent supplementation, like I mentioned, for the coat condition, the weight maintenance, and overall health. Now you can see the water soaking in nicely. The horses love this stuff, and I do apologize how dark it is, but that's what it is. We have motion sensor lights on our property, so we're actually walking over to the barn that you guys are familiar with in all of our other videos. So Red, Indy, and Buckeye are great deterrents for predators. So here we go. We are going to be opening the gate. Beautiful, beautiful night out here. The garden is off to the right over there. This is our nightly routine. This is the equine portion of it. Indy's a hot mess. He's the donkey back there. Red's getting some lovin'. Always get some sweet lovin' on. He loves it. Obviously, they love their feeding routine. Who doesn't? We're going to go into the gate here.
Go to bed.
Say hi, Red. He's a big boy. That's a big boy, Red. Indy. There's some, they do show some dominance issues a little bit as far as Red being a bossy boy, so we put him in his stall. Make sure the gate is closed after we put this, we bring the food in. Red went into his stall. We make sure the gate's closed. I don't know if you could see also the loose mineral blocks we keep in here. You want to make sure you guys have that as well. Always want to secure your gates. Gonna pick up our scoop. Indy's being a happy boy, going over to his stall. So part of our routine at night is to put Red in his stall, Indy in his stall. And you're probably wondering, but you have three equine, right? Well, hang on. So we're gonna close this gate, lock them in, because they get kind of funny as far as being bossy. Red likes to take food, Indy will take food from. It becomes this trio of messing with each other over the food. So you just lock them up, keep them separated while they're eating. Buckeye, the black horse, is a rescue. He is an adopted rescue. So this black one here, so he was very thin when he originally came to us. You guys know that probably already. So he's very particular about food in general. Not sure if you're familiar with underfed animals and the kind of behaviors that go along with feeding them when they finally start to get fed normal. Well, when he came here, obviously he started eating normal. So Buckeye's going to get fed right here next to the hay in the barn. We normally keep the hay roll out of the barn so it doesn't make a big mess. We're still working on getting an overhang on the other side of this barn so we can put the rolls under it, out and out of the weather. We don't like moldy hay. You shouldn't be giving your animals moldy hay. A lot of places will sell you moldy hay. Make sure you're checking that stuff. You can smell it. It shouldn't be wet. Don't buy moldy hay. There's so many options out there. You don't need to buy wet moldy hay. Make sure it's dry. You wouldn't eat something, that's moldy, so why would you give it to your horses? That cost you I mean, I have a whole video on homestead costs. Go check it out. I might even link it up in the top right of this. So now we're going to go back into the pitch black darkness of the night with our motion sensor lights, and let the light guide us from the garage over to the goats, because the goats are going to be the next step on our feeding process. So for the goat feeding routine, we got a mix that works well for Nigerian dwarves. Really any of the smaller, breeds in general. It doesn't have to just be them. It could be pygmy, it could be a mini Nubian, It's all about balance. You want energy, you want to get them their fiber, and of course, they want their taste. Who doesn't want a good taste of sweet feed, am I right? I start by, we start with scooping in the sweet feed. The molasses coated grains, the goats love that stuff. Who doesn't, right? Sweet, sweet, sweet. So your grains are going to be coated with molasses. Too much of it can cause bloat or imbalance. So we want to make sure we keep that stuff portioned out, depending on who's in for milk, who's growing out, etc. Those kind of things here. So we're pouring it into our buckets. This is our goat bucket, as I mentioned. It's getting mixed. It's excellent for them. You can see also the alfalfa pellets. Those are high in calcium and protein. And it's especially important for does. We are going to add some of our cracked corn. We don't go too crazy with it. It's literally a treat and a quick source of energy. This is our chicken feed and duck feed getting mixed together. So I'm going to go back for a second though, finish talking about the goats. This is something I want to make sure I get out. You mix it out, they're going to come out happy and crazy. Goes into their feed bowls. The goats are very vocal at nighttime, especially if they see us walking around with food. They know they can see a blank or an empty bucket with nothing in it, or a scoop with nothing in it, and they'll come straight for it. They know the routine. They don't want to be skipped. So each goat will get their portion. We keep an eye out to make sure nobody gets pushed out of the way. With goats, there's always a bit of shuffling and headbutting during feeding time. It's part of the social order. We spread out, what you can. We actually have a few different buckets, half barrel, blue barrels out there that they all eat from, but they're kind of, you know, spread out kind of based on a dominance order with your little dwarves, which is funny. But once they're settled, it's a peaceful moment. Feeding animals in the evening isn't just about calories, though. You're closing out the day. They rely on this rhythm. It's how we end things every single day, no matter the weather or how tired we are. You have to feed them, guys. You can't, you know, it doesn't matter if it's pitch black outside like this. You got to get it done. Now I'm going to go back to the chickens again. I just didn't want to forget about mentioning everything for our goats routine. This part can get a little chaotic with the chickens and ducks at night because everyone's trying to roost up and tuck in. But when they hear the rattle of the feed bin, they perk up, you know. We mixed their feed, which was a blend of the layer pellets, a scoop of the cracked corn. Sometimes you might, if you want to, it's up to you. You can supplement in some black oil sunflower seeds. You can toss in some scratch grain if it's chilly. Not this time of year, but it does happen. We do use scratch grain as well. It helps generate body heat overnight. You can actually also add a little bit of diatomaceous earth, DE, to help parasite control. It's pretty awesome. Just not too much. You're just going to sprinkle a little bit. The ducks are loud, incredibly loud at first, but they get quiet. Once they see you just walking with the, you know, scoop, they get incredibly loud. You hear them walking around. Make sure to keep their feeding areas separate from the chickens. You know, we feed the chickens over at their coop. The ducks are fed over in their area. Ducks love to mix water with feed, and it grows fast. So I check waters as I go. This is a must,
Come here, Lippy.
especially in hot weather. Rain, sunshine, morning, evening. Always check their water. At night, you try to make sure every animal has access to clean, fresh water. That includes the ducks, who will drink half a gallon just between dusk and dawn. So, you know, obviously at this point it's pitch black, the sun's gone. The only light we got is, you can use a headlamp, you can use a lantern, or the moonlight. It's not quite as dark as it looks. The moon can give off some pretty good light. We got a few of the goats following us around here. They free range, so they get put up at this time when this is going on too. You can probably hear, you know, crickets in the background, maybe some frogs. Lots of goats, lots of ducks. The chickens are usually quieter at night. You know, we walk through the backyard with the feed buckets in hand. Watch your steps, especially the goats. The goats will run you over. See how they just stop and run right in front of you like that?
Yeah, kids.
So this is when the uneven ground and leftover tools from earlier in the day like to trip you up, and goats. So feeding in the dark is something most folks don't think about or talk about. It's easy to imagine homesteading is all sunshine and happy animals and rainbows. I say that all the time. But out here, when you got mouths to feed, chores don't stop just because the sun went down. You know, you got to stop by every feeding station. Horses first, goats, chickens, ducks. Sometimes we check on the coops, close them up. Sometimes we'll leave them open. It just depends on the weather and the predator activity. So we usually keep a dog or two out overnight to help with that. The animals are used to the routine. They don't panic in the dark. If anything, they're calmer. Usually, you know, they know we're on the way. They hear the familiar footsteps, so they know what's up. This is the last part of the day. It's honestly one of our favorites. It's quiet, usually grounded. Once you've fed them, it's quiet. And it's where everything comes full circle. The garden's obviously quiet. The animals get fed. The stars are gorgeous. And even though we're covered in hay and mud, this is the moment where it all feels worth it, right? You don't homestead for convenience, guys. You do it for the rhythm of life that tells you when it's time to feed, time to care, and time to rest. Some days it's chaotic. Some nights it's, you know, you're out here in the thunderstorms chasing a loose duck. So that's our routine, folks. Thank you. We will do a daytime routine video as well.